Hello again. You have turned on the Speakers Bureau again, and we're here once again with a very distinguished guest who is going to share his life story. And as we always say in our introduction, that the Speakers Bureau is about motivating, encouraging, inspiring our young people, but not just the young people. We have stories that will inspire all of us. I have been inspired over and over again and motivated by the stories that I hear, the life stories that have been told here on the Speakers Bureau. So I hope you too will enjoy this day and get something out of it. And our speakers just simply open up and share. They share their challenges, they share their successes, they share their life so that they can hopefully help you with your life. So today we have Mr. Joel Borgella, and he is the co-founder along with his wife, Miss Indira, and they co-found the Treasure Coast Communications and Marketing. They are also co-founders of the Treasure Coast Studios, and they Treasure Coast Printers,
yes.
And they are also the owners of the Better Living and Marketplace magazine.
Yes.
So, I mean, the successes that Mr. Joe Borgella and his wife has had in this community, they have come to St. Lucie County and have been here for several years now. And they have done a tremendous job in making our community a great one to live in. So, Mr. Joe Borgella, good day to you.
Good day.
And I say good day because we will be airing this program several times a day on our educational channel.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yes. So and it lasts for a whole month.
Okay.
So we air you over and over again for the entire month.
Okay.
And so I believe we do have someone for the month of April. So you would be May.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So let's get started with your professions and why you went into the particular professions that you're into.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I'm very nervous, so I will do my best.
We're just going to have a good conversation.
Just a great conversation.
Yes.
So how did I get into this profession? Well, my mother and father are from Haiti. I'm Haitian. And real simple, they were really great students. And for those of you who are not from the Caribbean, one of the educational goals in the Caribbean is to get the best kind of grades you can. You know, 4.0s, 4.2s, and then you would go to Europe to get educated. So my mother and father ended up going to Brussels, Belgium, because there is a free medical school there. So their main concern was, you know, my great-grandmother, well, my grandmother was a candy shop owner, and she saved her money. She had 11 kids, and they all went to Brussels to the medical field.
Wow.
So my father is a OBGYN pediatric surgeon. I'm sorry, OBGYN and surgeon. And my mother's a registered nurse. So they got their education at the University of Brussels, fell in love. I always say I was their first mistake. So I was born there. Moved from Brussels.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yes.
Wow, of 11 children.
Yes.
And
well,
you're
no,
young
my grandmother had
yourself.
11 children. I'm the oldest of 4 children.
Okay,
Of 4.
we got the story right now.
So my mom and dad, after they graduated the medical school with their medical degree, they moved to America, New York. And my father went in and couldn't pass the English exam. So he drove taxi for 2 or 3 years. When he finally was able to pass the English exam, I mean, this guy's a brilliant guy, but English was, you know, when you go from French to English, it's complicated. So, and then life. So long story short, about 2 or 3 years of us living in Brooklyn on a taxi man's salary, which wasn't really that bad at the time, but he didn't own his own cab. You know, we moved to Long Island, New York, and while we were in Long Island, New York, and he was really, you know, starting to take stride with his medical career and his medical practice, he noticed that you can't get news about what was going on in Haiti. They used to have like a Sunday night world report. We would watch it. It was for 1 hour, and they would talk about what's going on in other countries. So my father started a Haitian radio station that you'd have to access via subcarrier. I was about 12, 13 years old at the time. And after about a year or two of starting that, we were in 5 different states, and we had an FM station in Haiti, and we were, broadcasting back and forth. But basically what would happen is by the time I was 13, 14, I was doing radio shows, I was doing intros. I actually got a chance to interview Wyclef and Lauren before they blew up and became, Wyclef Jean. They were just, it's a Haitian music group. And by the time I was 16, 17, I was pitching advertisers because I speak Creole, I speak French, but I didn't have an accent. So I was really good at selling and getting my thoughts down on PowerPoints and pitching American Airlines at 17, 18, pitching, Western Union, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with it, and then I started researching it, and I learned about Ted Turner, and I learned about all these different media moguls and how they started, and I just fell in love with marketing and communication, and that's really when it happened. That's how I got into the profession.
Wow. So what is your educational background?
Well, I went to Hofstra University. I studied business administration and marketing. My original plan was to be, I wanted to get my MBA JD. I wanted to be a business corporate attorney. I knew I wanted to do that. I don't know why. And I just the reading and the long, and it was too much. I like to do a lot of different things. That's why I like marketing, I guess. I get to meet different people. But yeah, so I went to Hofstra University, and I also attended LaSalle Military Academy out of Long Island, New York. I lived on campus over there, and that was about a year. That was during high school, and then I also went to Syosset High School in Long Island, New York.
Okay.
So
you're a New Yorker.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. And then I've been to other schools since then. I went to Full Sail for web development, mobile app. I wanted to learn how to do that. And always learning. I'm even actually taking the St. Lucie Business Accelerator course right now.
Okay.
So I get to attend a St. Lucie county-backed program for business people.
And I think that's why you're so successful, because you're always learning. You're always willing to expand what you know.
We have to.
And we have to, but so many people just think, okay, this is it for me. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I have learned that if you continue to expand your horizons, you go into different places you would never even experience.
Absolutely. Well, I tell people all the time that I work with, especially my kids and my nephews and nieces, I say, if you're not trying to move forward while the world is, you're just standing still. So don't be surprised. Even a turtle could be miles ahead of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything to move forward.
That's right.
So you just gotta keep growing.
You just stand still, and life stops for you at where it's at.
And everybody else moves forward.
Yeah. Well, I think some of us just have this real go-getter personalities that propel us into a different area of life, and one that stays exciting. Now, your dad, I heard you say, was a doctor. He is a doctor.
Yes.
And but he had to drive when he came to America because of the lack of English language. He had to drive cab for 3 years.
Yes. Just to be able to pass the English exam. Yeah.
And so he has passed the English exam, and he started practicing medicine.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely incredible. You must really look up to him.
I really do.
Yeah, and your mom as well.
My mom and dad are my superheroes. I got to tell you.
So let me ask you this question, Mr. Joel. What do you feel most proud of in life?
There's a couple of things in life I remember. When I was in kindergarten, there was a kid that was bullying. We were playing with the blocks in the section. My teacher's name was Miss Gross, by the way. Miss Gross. So that was hysterical. But there was a kid that was being bullied, and I helped the kid, and I stopped. I remember that moment because Miss Gross, she said, that was a good thing you did, blah blah blah. I remember that. Another thing I remember is the first time I got.
That's really a big deal.
Yeah.
That really what you did was a big deal, and not because. I say big deal because you have to have courage when other kids, your peers, are doing something that's negative, and then you stand, especially when it's against another person.
Yeah.
And then you stand up and say, no, this is not going to work. I can think of back in my school days as well. That's not easy for another kid to do,
Yeah.
but it's worth it because for the rest of your life, you're going to feel good about how you stood up for someone who was being mistreated.
Well, you know, I think that's part of that comes from also being a big brother. So I had 2 brothers and a baby sister, not when I was in kindergarten, but I did have my brother, Gene. He also lives in Florida. He's a stockbroker. Love him to death. He's another one that I'm really proud of. But that was definitely a defining moment for me because I realized that I made a difference in a situation. And then the first time I got on the radio, I'm very shy, but you know, even when you're shy and you're scared, you just got to suck it up and do it, right? Like I'm doing now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You are really sucking it up.
You're sucking it up and just doing it. But yeah, you know, when you start realizing what you can actually accomplish if you don't let fear control you, the world becomes more exciting. Everything seems more attainable. And then curiosity kicks in and you're just motivated. So, I mean, that's my personality. I love to meet new people. That's why I go to these programs. I go to these courses. I do networking events because you get to see the world in so many different perspectives, you know? So I just find that interesting. We're not here for long.
Right, that's
so,
right.
You know,
Time does really go by.
It really goes by. You know, in my mind, I'm still 16 years old. I have the energy, the imagination, but when I wake up in the morning, unless I take my leave, I do not feel like I'm 16. So,
right, I get it.
So that's what that is.
You're preaching to the choir right
So,
now.
you know, okay.
But time does go by so quickly.
It really does.
And that is why it's so important for us to occupy our time and make it work for us because it just flies by. You know, for those who may have not gone on to get a skill, a technical skill, or college, or have not got stuck. We look at, just like you said, when we could remember when we were 16, 18 years old. And it's like almost like you blink your eye.
It was like yesterday. I mean, like if you look at music, for example, I love music. The work that I did in New York was really centered around the music industry in the urban space. We owned the first black advertising agency out of Harlem, New York, and we worked with like Calvin Klein, and we put Apollo Theater back on the air, and I was going after ads. I was now in my 20s. And one thing I've learned about just life in general, one thing I learned about just being in that space, like trying is what life's about. Trying to do something, but in trying there's failing.
Oh yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh,
so a lot
do.
of people are like, I've met people that are like afraid to fail, so they'll just never try. They'll just let it exist. But the fun part is the failing and moving forward. So, you know, so that type of mentality kind of frames who I am, because what I've learned is you could fail on something 100 times, but you've never really failed until you stop trying.
Yes.
So, because every failure is a closer route to success, right?
Yes.
When we walk by accidentally falling, and the other foot holds you back. Walking is a controlled failure, but you still get somewhere, right?
I'm so glad you're saying that, because speaker after speaker talks about not being afraid to fail.
Yes.
And they talk about how they've had failures in life.
Yes.
And disappointments, but they didn't give up, they persevered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is what causes one to propel themselves into their future.
You have to fail. You should look forward to failure. Because if you continue to move forward...
Failure is your friend.
Failure is your friend. Failure is success's cousin. I mean, at the end of the day, they know each other. Like, you know, I remember, I forgot who it was. You know, they say that most inventors will say, you know, I think it was, I'm not going to quote myself on TV, but at the end of the day, failure allows you to perfect what you're trying to succeed in. And then it builds the wisdom around it, because if you failed 100 times to make this one thing work, you're not going to make the same mistake twice.
Well, that's how inventors discover what they discover. They fail over and over again
until they find the perfect tweak.
Finally get it.
So that's where success is.
Yeah. Now, speaking of enjoying music and getting into the music career, what is your favorite type of music?
See, that's the weird thing. So I was born in Brussels, Belgium. You know, I know a lot of French hymns, and I love French music. I love Celtic music. I love rock. I love hip hop. I love rap. I love inspirational music. I mean, in high school, I went to an all-white school because my dad's career was doing really well. And in high school, I think it was my brother and I were like 2 black guys out of 1,800 kids.
Wow.
So I would say 8th till about 11th
Must have
grade.
been private school as well.
No, it was a public school in Syosset, Long Island.
Wow,
It was
okay.
Syosset High School, and you know, I started realizing that you know, it's funny. You don't really categorize yourself, right? But when you're around a group of people, you start to
Because
people
they
categorize you, right?
That's it.
Because you
That's
never really
it.
categorize
That's it.
yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And
you
I
know,
don't think, and I think that's the same for everyone.
yeah, we don't.
It's how
We tell
what
each other.
right, and how others treat them.
Yeah.
That causes them, if they're not careful,
Exactly.
to put themselves in a box.
Exactly, and that's why I say
categorize themselves. It's a mental thing.
It
that
is a
goes
mental
on.
thing. You have to really. One thing you need to understand throughout your failures and everything else, don't allow anybody to categorize you. You know, God made you a free spirit. You can, He gave you free will. You can become, and do whatever you believe you can.
I like that. Don't let anyone put you in a box.
No, never.
You know, I like to dress up, for example, but I also like to dress down.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that about me unless they catch me, you know.
Yeah.
I come in here sometime in jeans.
Yeah.
And an old, regular shirt. But I like to really dress up as well. And I
Yeah.
had one person say, "Oh my God, Dr. Mills, you got jeans on today."
What's going
and
on?
I said, "Do not box me.
That's it.
Do
That's
not
it.
label me. Let me be who I am in the fullness of who I am."
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great, great. Now, you also talked about getting to the point in life at times where failures, where you've had failures. If you had a chance to do over in life, what would you do differently?
You know, I think part of success is not having any regrets. You know, everything is a learning experience. If I haven't had if I haven't had some nightmare relationships and nightmare girlfriends, I wouldn't have been able to identify the one I married.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
And you've got a beautiful wife.
And
I mean,
I lucked out with that.
Yeah, yeah. So, so we want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Your family. Tell us
Yes.
about a little bit about your family.
Well, in college, I had my first son, Aaron. He really opened up my eyes to the reality of life, cause and effect. Shortly after he was born, I met, as working at that advertising agency, my now wife was my intern. She had, for the company, and she came in and she wrote her paper about software that I had developed to stop Napster. Napster was a file sharing software. I had raised $2 million and got some money out in advance for that. And about 7 or 8 months after we raised the funds, 9/11 happened. So I partnered up with the people that were going to help me run that organization, and we started the New America Agency. Well, they brought me in, I should say. And I was a chief technology officer. So,
Okay.
but she came in to intern and wrote a paper about my project.
Okay.
And we got to meet. But it was weirdo because when she walked into the building the first day, I heard God say, "That is your wife." It was so weird. So I turned back to my friend and I'm like, "Hey, who's that?" He's like, "Oh, that's my homegirl." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's my wife." You know what I mean? And he started laughing and he was joking, and I just pursued her like, man, like you would think I was, like it was a contest, you know? So you want lunch? You want ketchup on it? What you want? Like you want a cheeseburger? I got you. What you want? So, but eventually we started working together some more. We got to know each other. She became my friend.
Okay.
And now we have our first child together. We had a young girl. 12, 13 months later, we had twins, Austin and Alana. So it was Ava, Austin, and Alana. And then 7 years ago, a few days before my sister died, we had my last son, Adam. So Adam, I say last, but I want 10 more. But yeah, so Adam.
Indira probably doesn't want 10 more, not in this day and time.
She doesn't. Hopefully God will give me the time and energy to adopt or
okay.
yeah, or be a foster parent. But
Great, great.
I love kids.
Okay. What teacher in school made the most impact on you? And why?
There's so many of them. So for me, every day is a school, right? So it's like I've been impacted by so many different people and so many different things. But I remember Miss Gross. I remember Miss Murray, my second grade teacher. I remember Miss Garvey, my third grade teacher. I remember Mr. Harvey, my fifth grade teacher.
Why?
He did music.
Okay, you break it down. We don't have a whole lot of time.
Well,
but you
basically,
named so many
they were just
people.
all so different. I mean, and their approaches were so different. Like one of them was,
what did they have in common? Hopefully,
they taught me
that's
something
it.
I didn't know.
Okay.
But it's the way they did it. Like Miss Garvey was mean. She was mean. She was strict and disciplinary and and she was mean. But she really cared though. You know what I mean? Like she really cared that we did well. So you know she cared.
You really knew she cared.
Yeah, so it mattered. But she was mean.
Okay.
You know,
but you did.
Second grade, you get anxiety walking to class, and you're like, this is a good teacher. She's a good lady. You know,
knew she cared.
Yeah, she cared.
Okay.
Mr. Harvey just had a love. I mean, these kids don't understand because they have media systems in their pockets, right? But you know, they would roll in with the rack, with the TV, and and we would watch Nova and all these things, and he knew how to work the projector with the film reel and with the light. Everybody tried. I thought it was amazing that this guy was in control of that type of technology, and so it's just a bunch of little crazy things. But I'm not afraid to be mentored. So I was able to deal with a lot of people that were successful in the certain industries and stage of their lives. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. But the ones that formed my teenage, me until my teenage years, I think helped mold who I am. And I really want a lot of kids to know that they're currently living the time that's going to create who they are, before they're 18, so enjoy it, appreciate it, and really try to soak it all in.
Do you have a hero? Who do you admire most?
My mom and dad.
Okay.
I mean, I just can't imagine coming into a country and then you don't know how to speak the language and you should be making, tens of thousands of dollars a month, and you suck it up and do what you have to do.
That must have really made a great impression on you as a kid.
Even though he was a doctor, for him to start a radio station only because he wanted himself and his community to know what was going on in their country, 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and to see it happen and see the people come in and work. And I mean, it was a big operation, and that just showed me that you can really do whatever you want to do in life if you really want to do it.
True.
You really can.
Yes, you can. You really can.
It's amazing when you kind of accept that.
I thought about when you talked about failure is your friend. Failure is something that you cannot be afraid of. It doesn't. It's your success if you keep going.
If you keep
eventually.
going. Yeah.
And when you said that, I thought about 2010 when I ran for school board. There was 5 people already signed up.
Wow.
And here I come in 2 weeks before the deadline.
Oh my goodness.
To sign up. And so I had to be bold and believe that I could really win the campaign and the race. And it was 6 of us.
Wow.
And I've been a school board member since 2010 because I took that leap of faith.
Exactly.
Now, at the time, there was all kind of things screaming at me, and people, never had a black female school board member, only had one black male for many years here in St. Lucie County, Dr. Samuel Gaines. And so, and he was no longer on the school board, and it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm even asking myself, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But it was that go get 'em, and that I believed in myself.
Absolutely.
And so you don't let people label you. You don't let people say what you can do or what you cannot do.
So I'll tell you this. I have been told by many people in trying to make something happen. So put it this way. I've gotten more reaction from people saying, no, that's not possible, you can't do that. No, that's not possible, you can't do that. But then when you actually do it, despite everything, they're the first ones to clap. So I tell people all the time, you have to be mindful that what God has for you is between you and God. It's that those few moments before you close your eyes to go to sleep, there's like nothing in the world but the silence of you in your head and God. Like, that's the only person that needs to be encouraging you. Because a lot of people want to put you in a category, put you in a box. And a lot of people use your success in life to judge where they are. So people like the comfort of, hey, I'm doing okay, my friends are doing okay, so we're all good. But then once one of those friends tries to, do the bigger thing or or get the extra degree, or buy a house at a young age. Like, well, what are you doing that for? You should just save your money. Don't do that. So, you know, you got to really do what your heart wants you to do, what you feel like you need to do. Go after that. That's living.
Yes.
That's what living is about.
Yes.
You know, challenging yourself.
Mr. Joel, you have been just phenomenal in your conversation. You would never know you were shy. Okay, so stop saying that.
I am,
because nobody knows that at all except you.
Okay, see, that's part of that conversation, right?
Now, we've got about 3 minutes left of our program. If you were president of the United States, what is the first thing you would do?
The first thing I would do is I would put it, I'm telling you this right from this is all emotion right now. I would work a sort of exchange student program, and I would work something out with the airlines, and I would work something where all of the kids of America spend a month at a school in a third world country and get to see what life is like there. So like my father, he came here, and he saw opportunity, as my mom did. And people don't understand how lucky we are to be in the United States of America. We're literally the richest country in the world. Even our poor people are richer than most people on the planet. And I think we've taken that for granted. And I think if the younger generation of what is the American lifeblood had a chance to see what the rest of the world is going through as a kid, their whole world would open up.
Yes, we took a group of kids to Haiti one time, and another time we took one individual kid to Haiti with us, and he became a missionary.
Yeah.
And he's a missionary today. He's in his 30s now. He said he was going back to Haiti to help.
Yeah.
That's the difference it makes.
That's the difference.
And other kids that we've taken that group, so many of them, it changed their
It changes your life.
lives.
When you realize how blessed and lucky you are, because we complain, this Wi-Fi signal sucks, excuse my language, but there's some people that don't even have, a phone. There's people that don't have water. There's people that don't, and the things that we take for granted. So I just feel like if we can expose our youth, the future of the country, right, to see how lucky we are just to be here, just to be born here, because that's the one thing you can't control, who and where you're born.
That's right. That's right.
So I could have been born in Uzbekistan, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's neighborhoods that
not have the parents that you have.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many
things
who don't have even one good parent.
Yeah. But
Or
even
they-
that
or they- or they
child even that child that doesn't have the one good parent in America has opportunity than that child who doesn't have the one good parent in a third world country. So it's like just being here is a blessing. And I think that's what we need to frame.
Listen, we have run out of time.
I'm sorry.
But this has been such a rich conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the Speakers Bureau.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for befriending me in the community.
Thank you.
And to have that type of relationship now that we have as friends as well in this community.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate you coming on, and we hope that one day you'll be willing to come on again.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've learned quite a few things today. So young people, learn and you'll grow.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Thank you.